Welcome back. From sending and receiving money to paying for goods and services, M-pesa has kept expanding, transforming people's lives, as well as earning Safaricom up to 45% of its revenue. However, Michael Joseph, the man who gave life to the transformational idea, has some regrets too about the borrowing frenzy. On this exclusive interview with our reporter Brenda Kerubo, he also talks about splitting M-pesa from Safaricom and reducing charges on the mobile wallet. Take a look.
Has just celebrated its 15th birthday. Is it everything that you imagined the platform would be since 2007?
Oh, a lot more. A lot more. I mean, I don't think anybody imagined that M-pesa would be so successful when we started in 2007. You know, when we started in 2007, our plan was to have 1 million, 2 million customers, break even at best, and it really has taken off. No one could have predicted the success of M-pesa. Not the financial success, and not the success in terms of changing people's lives or people using it so easily. So I know it's a fantastic success. I mean, a massive success for Safaricom, you know. We didn't think about it at the time when we started. So I think, yeah, it's been fantastic. I didn't come up with the idea, as you know. I brought it to life. So I consider myself the mother of M-pesa, not the father of M-pesa. But when we brought it to life, we did not know that it would do this much. And the intention was to change people's lives for the better, but to the extent that we have, no, I don't think so. And to some extent, there are negatives as well, you know, and in my view, it's my personal view, I think some of the things that we're doing with M-pesa are not good for people, like the borrowing. The borrowing on M-pesa, I think, is too expensive. And it was not my intention. When I introduced Mshwari, I hope somebody will be blushing when they read this, when I introduced Mshwari, the plan was, Mshwari was supposed to be a savings and loans product. First you save, you get a habit of saving, and once you get into the habit of saving, then you can borrow money based on your savings. That was the plan. But unfortunately, it never worked out that way. So it's more, people borrow more than they save, which is not what I intended.
There have been discussions about separating M-pesa and Safaricom in the last 5 years, but now they are now at a regulatory level. At what point did you start having discussions with the Central Bank of Kenya in regard to this?
Look, first of all, I think we have to be careful. It's an idea, because when we're a listed company, we can't make such some moves of this magnitude without, you know, discussing it, without, you know, informing our shareholders, all our shareholders, not just the two big ones, but the other shareholders. So first, it's an idea that we're looking at what to do. Of course, M-pesa is so big. It's 45% of our revenue. You know, it would be better to separate it from a regulatory point of view so that the central bank can regulate M-pesa, not regulate Safaricom. So that makes sense from that point of view. It also makes a right thing to do. Makes sense, sorry, if you say we wanted to do more with M-pesa, and there is a possibility of doing more. It's limited when you're within the Safaricom family. If you're regulated by the central bank, you can apply to do more things with M-pesa. That's an idea. It's not, the intention is not to separate, as people have speculated, to separate M-pesa, put it into a separate company, and then sell shares in M-pesa. Of course, that would be fantastic, but it's not the intended purpose. Maybe one day it might happen, but it's not the intended purpose.
As a customer, what exactly does it mean for me when, you know, if it happens that M-pesa is separated from Safaricom? Will it change the way I access the services?
It'll be exactly the same. I mean, anything that may happen is maybe if you talk about M-pesa, if we separate M-pesa. Look, the possibility and this is the possibility, and I don't want to speculate and create all sorts of ideas and things like that. But if we took Safaricom, if you took M-pesa out of Safaricom and it was regulated by the central bank, you could then apply to the central bank to offer more services to its customers, which are not necessarily telecom services, or it could be financial services. You know, I could lend you money to borrow a car, to buy a car, for example. I can't do it today, really, because it's still, there's opportunities to do more and to give you, I wouldn't say better service, because it'll still be the same service, but maybe give you more range of products in which to choose. Well, I think all we would do is we would create a separate company called M-pesa, Safaricom, or M-pesa, or something or other, create a separate board of directors and spin it off from Safaricom, so it's a separate subsidiary of Safaricom. Right now we have a few companies like that you probably are not aware of, but Digifarm is a separate company from M-pesa, from Safaricom. It's a separate, with its own board of directors, etc. It was just a simple process. So it would have its own board of directors, its own chairman, and then we'd have its own staff and salaries. Staff that report to M-pesa. So it's a very simple move. It's not a move like people have speculated, as I say, to do an IPO or something like that.
The setting up of M-pesa Africa, is this more or less in regard to the SIM?
Okay, so M-pesa Africa is completely different. This is what I think is not very well understood. When I left Safaricom as CEO of Safaricom in 2011, I went to the UK and I ran what is now called M-pesa Africa. But it was a Vodafone company. It was a Vodafone company that basically was a technology company that provided technology support to all the M-pesa platforms within the Vodafone group. So we have a platform in Tanzania, Mozambique, Ghana, etc., etc. And it was a technology business to support those platforms. So all the platforms had the same services, the same products, the same software. It was not a commercial company to go and look for new business. Of course, it had a commercial arm which created new products. There were people in there that looked at new kind of products that we could bring into M-pesa and then introduce them to all the Vodafone company or the Vodacom companies that had M-pesa. So all that has happened is that company, that was a Vodafone company, a department within Vodafone, has been now brought and sold into a joint venture jointly owned by Safaricom and Vodacom. It's a technology company.
The Central Bank of Kenya is also considering the introduction of a central bank digital currency. Do you see this as a threat to M-pesa?
Neither. I think the way the world is going, these digital currencies are going to emerge. There are to some extent digital currencies everywhere. I don't see this as a threat or a good thing for us or a competitor. I think it's just one of those things that's going to happen. Will it be successful? That depends on whether people embrace it or don't embrace it. There's so many people who would buy digital currency, some people who would not. To some extent, M-pesa is a digital currency, except it's backed by cash. Whether the digital currency envisioned by the central bank is backed by cash, I don't know. I don't know enough to say that. But I don't see it as a threat. Just like when people said when PayPal came out or Facebook came out or Google Pay came out, all these things, none of them have been a threat to us. They thought they were. They thought they understood the market. Look, Safaricom has done such a great job with M-pesa. Let's do it ourselves. But have you ever used Facebook Pay or Google Pay? I don't think very few people do. Why? The single thing is people like to be able to take their money out in cash at some stage. Despite the success of M-pesa, despite all these things, people still use cash. And it's true. 40% of the transactions in this country are still done with cash. And you can't replace it. Be nice, but you can't.
There has been a public outcry in regard to M-pesa charges. Are there plans to have it reduced?
Look, okay, first of all, I don't believe there's an outcry. I think that's an optimistic use of the word. I don't think there's an outcry, but I do believe that our pricing can be reviewed and looked at again. I do think, and I have been an advocate of this for a long, long time, that even below certain transactions are free of charge, and they're still free of charge. Below 100 shillings is free of charge, isn't it? Yeah? Or is it even more? I don't know. And when we did, during the COVID period, transaction below 1,000 shillings were free of charge. And people abused it completely. Many people did. But I do think prices should come down. And I don't think we shouldn't be regulated to put prices down. We should do it because we think it's the right thing to do. And I do believe that we've heard what you call the outcry, but we've heard what people are saying about M-pesa, particularly at the low end of the transactions. And I think we should look at those pricing. And they will come down, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So when you say it come down, percentages?
No, I have no idea at this stage. We still have to. As I know, I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis with what goes on in the company. I'm just the chairman now. I can give my opinion, of course. They can ignore it. But I think, as the sort of the mother of M-pesa and as the person who what I wanted M-pesa to do, I think the lower we can bring, the closer we can bring our charges to zero, the better. And I've always said that.
How will you make money? How will you make money?
Of course, volume, number of transactions. But I don't think it's not a case we will give it away for free. I don't think you give anything away for free. I've learned that lesson a long, long time. You don't give away for free. It should pay its way, and it should make a reasonable return on investment. It should, and that's where the charges should go. But this is why we never separated M-pesa out of Kenya, out of Safaricom in the first place. Because if you wanted to be a standalone...
The rest of that conversation will be aired tomorrow on Primetime News. Well, we take another break. I'll be back with more stories.